We know that the angular momentum of a body is particle or the body is given by L bar is equal R bar cross P bar. That is angular momentum is equal the position vector or the perpendicular distance from the point to that application of that velocity of direction into the momentum of this particle. Now, if you differentiate this one with respect to time on both sides, then we can find the relation between angular momentum and torque. So, a relation between angular momentum and torque. So, now I am going to differentiate this one here. While differentiating this one, first I have to write d by dt of L bar is equal to this L bar I am going to write with same color. So, this is L bar is equal here this is d by dt of R bar cross P bar. Now, you know in mathematics, in basics mathematics, sir might have explained about this UV formula. So, I am going to write this one. This will be d by dt of L bar is given by, first you bring this one outside. So, this is R bar cross d by dt of P bar. So, U d by dt of V plus this is the first term. Now, the second term P bar, here I am going to write this P bar into d by dt of the second vector here, this is R bar, this is the second term. Now, here this dl by dt or derivative of angular momentum with respect to time is given by, here what I am going to write, this is R bar cross, what is the rate of change in linear momentum? According to Newton's second law, we studied this, F is nothing but dp by dt, F bar is equal to dp by dt. The rate of change in linear momentum of a particle is known as force. So, in place of this dp by dt, we can write F bar here plus, now this momentum of this particle, actually we can write mv bar into, what is this rate of change of position of this particle? Position of this particle with respect to time is called velocity. So, once again we have v bar. You can see this one, the dl bar by dt is given by R bar cross F bar plus, here you can see V bar cross V bar, velocity vector cross multiplied by velocity vector. We know that A cross B is equal to AB sin theta. Here as it is V cross V, you can write this as V cross V is equal to VV sin 0 degrees, because both are similar vectors acting in the same direction. If you multiply two vectors acting in the same direction, the cross multiplication is always equal to 0. Why? Because the angle between these two will be 0. So, we can write V cross V as 0. So, this component, this part of this one will become 0 here. So, what is this dl bar by dt? We know that the product of R bar and force, this is nothing but torque. So, this is tau bar. So, what is the final conclusion here? The final conclusion is the rate of change in angular momentum of a particle is directly proportional to the torque acting on this one. In linear motion, the rate of change of momentum is equal to force. This is for linear motion or translatory motion. So, we can call it as translatory motion. Why? Because this is about rigid bodies. So, for body motion we call it as a translatory motion, but whereas in case of this angular motion or rotational motion, we can write this as, in rotational motion, this is the rate of change of linear momentum. the rate of change of angular momentum is called torque. In case of a system of particles, that is body, the total angular momentum of a body is given by the sum of the angular momentum of each and every individual particle here. This is Ln. So this we call it as L is equal to sigma Li with I is equal to 1 by N. That is, if you substitute I is equal to 1, this will become L1 plus I is equal to 2 L2 up to I value N. So this is a total momentum of the system of particles or a body. Now, if you differentiate this one with respect to time, then what we are going to get, dl by dt will be d by dt of sigma Li with I 1 to N, where Li is the momentum of the ith particle. So what is Li here? Li is equal to momentum of ith particle in a body. So this is the body and it has so many particles. So if you consider one particle, this is the ith particle, then the total momentum is given by this one. And now the total rate of change of angular momentum of this body is given by this. So we can write this as dl by dt, that is rate of change of time rate of change of total angular momentum of this body is given by sigma of d by dt of Li with this I starts from 1 to N. Now, we know that dl by dt, that is dl by dt is nothing but tau. This is the derivative, that means rate of change in angular momentum of ith particle with respect to time, which is given by sigma from I 1 to N. This is nothing but torque on the ith particle. That means this ith particle is experiencing this torque. But we know that torque may be internal torque or external torque. Now, if you take the total torque on the ith particle, so this total torque may be this tau on the ith particle is tau due to external forces and tau due to internal forces. This I is not internal, this is ith particle, torque on the ith particle. Now, torque due to external forces are, let me take it as tau external. What is the torque due to internal forces? Now, let us say this particle is exerting some force on this one and this particle is exerting force on this one. As these two forces are equal and opposite to each other, the internal forces are acting along the same line. The internal force between two particles will be along same line. So, here I am going to write forces on any two particles inside a body or inside a system are equal and opposite to each other, equal and opposite to each other. So, due to this, while calculating the internal torque, what I am going to write, that the force on any one particle, let us say this is exerting some force on this one, at the same time this particle exerts some force on this one, and what is the distance of this two between these two r, and this position vector is also acting in the same direction or maybe in opposite direction. So, what is the torque due to internal forces? Torque due to internal forces is given by force into distance into sin theta. What is the possible angle between F and R? This is F, force experienced by this ith particle, and R is in this direction, position vector from this one. So, angle between these two is either 180 or due to another particle here, this position vector will be in this direction. So, theta should be either 0 or 180. So, this is either 0 or 180. So, tau internal is always equal to 0. So, the torque due to the internal forces, so directly what I am going to write, I am taking 0. So, whenever a torque word is used on a system of particles, always that torque gives or resembles only the external torque. So, now I am going to write this torque on the ith particle as external torque experienced by the ith particle, not due to the internal forces. So, finally, what I am going to write, dl by dt is given by sigma tau external only on the ith particle from 1 to n. Now, as we are adding all these torques, that is torque experienced by first particle plus torque experienced by second particle, this is all external forces and so on, torque experienced by nth particle. So, this dl by dt is nothing but the total external torque, because I am adding all these torques, finally get total external torque. So, what is the final conclusion? The time rate of angular momentum of a system is equal to the torque. The time rate of change of angular momentum on a system or of a body or system of particles is equal to the net torque experienced by the body. So, in Newton's second law, the rate of change of linear momentum is equal to force. So, this is Newton's law for linear motion or translatory motion, but this is also similar to that Newton's law in case of a rotatory motion. Here, instead of rate of change of linear momentum, we are going to write rate of change of angular momentum. Here we will get force here, but here we will get torque in rotatory motion. Here in mechanics, while discussing about laws of motion in the chapter, we studied about equilibrium of a body. In that lesson, we studied only about the translatory equilibrium of a body. So, what is this translatory equilibrium? If you take a body here, what are the forces acting on this body? Generally, the mass of this body will be given as m, the weight of the body mg, and the normal reaction will be n. So, when these two forces are equal and opposite, the body will be in equilibrium. Remember, in chemistry, you might have studied about chemical equilibrium. Similarly, in physics itself, in the lower classes, you might have studied about thermal equilibrium. Thermal equilibrium means if the temperature of the body is kept constant for a long period of time, that means either by giving heat energy or by removing heat energy, if the temperature of the body is kept constant for a long time, then the body is said to be in thermal equilibrium with the surroundings. That we will study in PUC also. But here this is about mechanical equilibrium. Here the first one is a translatory equilibrium. Now, what are the net forces acting or experienced by this body? The net forces experienced by this body is equal to 0, because sum of these two will be 0, that is mg minus n will be 0. So, mg is equal to n, net force will be 0. Now, even if some force is acting on this one, if somebody is pulling this body in this direction, let us say body is not moving, the body of mass m is at rest, then this frictional force will be opposite to this one, and then also along y-axis capital F minus small f is equal to 0. So, the total forces along x-axis is 0, the sum of the forces along y-axis is 0, even though the now forces are given along z-axis. So, we can say as the body is in equilibrium, the sum of the forces along z-axis is also equal to 0. So, whenever the net force experienced by a body is 0, then the body is said to be in translatory equilibrium. What is meant by net force here? According to Newton's second law, F is equal to ma, this is m into a net bar is equal to 0. As mass is a scalar quantity, F is a vector, acceleration is a vector. So, acceleration of this body is equal to 0. So, from this what we can say, when the acceleration is 0, acceleration is nothing but rate of change of velocity. That means dv bar by dt is equal to 0. When the rate of change of velocity is 0, we can say the velocity of the body is either constant or it may be 0. The velocity may be 0 as it is at rest here. So we can say velocity is constant and equal to 0 here. If a body is moving with constant velocity, then also body is said to be in translatory equilibrium only. Now, if the body is accelerating, then the body is not said to be in translatory equilibrium. So this is about translatory equilibrium. Now, if the body is in rotational equilibrium, when does a body is said to be in a rotational equilibrium? So as you know that here the net force acting on this body is 0, and here it should be net torque acting on this body should be equal to 0. When the net torque is 0, so then if this is the body, if the net torque on this one is 0, then we know that the torque is also equal to rate of change of angular momentum. In translatory motion, force is equal to rate of change of linear momentum, and in case of rotational motion, torque is equal to dl by dt. When torque is equal to 0, dl by dt will be 0. That means we know that the derivative of a constant is always 0. So from this what we can say, L is equal to constant. When L is equal to constant, that means the angular momentum is said to be constant. Now, this angular momentum is given by L is equal to mvr. This product is always constant if the torque acting on the system is 0. So mass is always 0. So Vr is constant. Now, from this we can say V is equal to R omega into R is equal to constant, R square omega constant, or angular velocity is constant. Because R square radius is constant, omega is constant. Here the linear velocity is constant, here angular velocity is constant. Here acceleration is 0 because there is no change in velocity, linear acceleration is 0. Here there is no change in angular velocity, so angular acceleration should become 0 here. So when alpha is 0, the body is said to be in rotational equilibrium. So finally what we can say, to change the translatory condition, translatory state of a rigid body, we need force, that means force has to be applied, force to be applied on the body. Similarly, to change the rotational state, of a rigid body, torque should be applied. If no torque is acting on the system, then the body or the system is said to be in rotational equilibrium. Now, if we combine these two together, that means translatory equilibrium as well as a rotational equilibrium. As I said, the force along x-axis is 0, force along y-axis is 0, force along z-axis is 0, or net force is 0, then the system is said to be in translatory equilibrium. Similarly, when net torque is 0, that is torque along x-axis, sum of the torques acting along x-axis should be 0, sum of the torques along y-axis should be 0, sum of the torques along z-axis is equal to 0. So, if a body satisfies all these 6 independent variables, conditions, then the body is said to be in mechanical equilibrium. So, this is a equilibrium, or we can call it as mechanical equilibrium of a rigid body. So, When does a body is said to be in mechanical equilibrium? If it satisfies the conditions of translatory equilibrium plus rotational equilibrium. So, if a body satisfies both the conditions of translatory and rotational equilibrium, translatory plus rotational equilibriums, then the body is said to be in mechanical equilibrium. In this case, two forces are acting at points A and B as shown in the figure. So, this is minus F, this is plus F. Why? Because it is acting in one direction. This is similar force, but acting opposite to this one. Now, how to find out the torque of this two forces about a point? Let me take a point here O. Now, let the distance of this one from this force, so let us say this is R1, this is R2. So, what is the total torque of the system? The total torque is given by R1 into minus F plus R2 into plus F, sum of the moments of the forces about point O. So, this is sum of the moments of the forces about O. Now, this can be given as, if you take F common, this will become R2 minus R1. But we know that in this triangle, this is the position vector of this point and this is the position vector here, and AB is also another position vector. As three vectors are taken in the form of a triangle, according to triangle of vector addition, R1 plus from here to here AB is equal to R2. So, what is AB here? This is R2 minus R1. So, you can write F into what is this R2 minus R1? This is nothing but the distance between the 2 points AB. This is the torque in this case. Suppose if you consider this point somewhere here O dash, then this will become R1 dash and this will become R2 dash. Then also the torque is given by T2 is equal to R1 dash into minus F plus R2 dash into plus F. Here also you can take F common, R2 dash minus R1 dash. Once again, this is the first vector, this is AB and this is the next vector. We can write R1 dash plus F AB bar is given by R2 dash bar. So, AB is given by R2 dash minus R1 dash. Once again, this force will become F into AB only. Remains the same and does not depend on the position of the origin considered. Conclusion is, for a system in mechanical equilibrium, it should be in rotational equilibrium as well as translatory equilibrium. So, this is a translatory equilibrium and it should be in rotational equilibrium. So, what is this translatory equilibrium? The vector sum of all the forces acting on the body should be equal to 0. So, vector sum of all the forces should be equal to 0. Here, vector sum of all the torques must be equal to 0. So, if we ask you to write the conditions for mechanical equilibrium of a system, we have to write the net force acting on the body 0 or vector sum of all the forces acting on a system should be 0. Similarly, for rotational equilibrium, vector sum of all the torques acting on a system should be 0. Some bodies may not be equilibrium, that is in mechanical equilibrium. For example, if you consider a thin rod means here the mass is negligible. Let us say forces are acting on this body. So, this point is A, this point is B. A force is acting downwards, which is equal to F. Another force is acting downwards here. This is also F. Let us say two equal forces are acting on this rod at points A and B. Let me take the center of this one is C. Let the length of this rod is L. So, as it is midpoint, let me take this as L by 2, and even this one is also L by 2. Now, in this case, what is the total force acting on this system? Remember students, here this thin rod, the mass is negligible. When the mass is negligible, that means nearly equal to 0. So, what we can say, the weight of this rod is also negligible. So, for this rod, the weight is negligible. So, weight is actually, generally weight acts vertically downwards. Here, I am not showing weight, as weight is 0 in this case. So, now, what are the forces acting on this rod? The force, one force is acting downwards, another force is also acting downwards. If weight is there, the weight would also act around in this direction downwards only, but I am not considering weight. The total force acting on this body. So, this is the first force and this is the second force, which is equal to 2F. So, the total force acting on this thin rod is 2F. So, what we can say, that net force acting on this body sigma F is not equal to 0. This is not equal to 0. This is the 2F. If the net force or vector sum of all the forces acting on a body is 0, then the body is said to be in translatory equilibrium. Here as net force is not equal to 0. We can say that this is not in translatory equilibrium. Rod is not in translational equilibrium. Now, let me take the moments about any point. We can take a moment of forces about any point. So, let me take the moments about this point. I am going to taking moments about C. About C. So, what we can write? We know that if only this force is acting on this rod, then this force can rotate this rod about this point. Let us say this is a fixed point here about this point. If this force is absent, only this force is acting, then the rod would have to rotate in this direction. If only this force is acting, if this force is absent, then rod would have to rotate in this direction. So, here you can see this is a clockwise rotation. Clockwise rotation. This is anti-clockwise rotation. Now, we can say that the clockwise torque is always negative, the anti-clockwise torque is positive. Now, let me take the moments of forces, moments or moment of forces about C. I can write for A, for this force, left side force, for distance into this force, that is L by 2 into F. We know that this force can create a rotation in anti-clockwise direction. That is why it is positive torque. Now, one more force, that is F, which is acting at a distance L by 2 from C. which is given by L by 2 into F. We know that as it is anti-clockwise rotation, the torque is said to be anti-clockwise torque, and this will be negative. Now, we know that even from right hand palm rule, if it is the distance or R, if it is the force, this torque is outwards. So, we know that anti-clockwise torque or outwards torque is positive. Similarly, for this one, this is R, this is force, this torque is inwards. So, inward torque is always negative. So, in this case, I am taking the outward torque or anti-clockwise torque as positive, and inwards this one is negative. As this value equal in magnitude but opposite in direction, the net torque will be 0. So, the sigma torque or tau net is 0. Sigma tau is 0 on this rod. Whenever the net torque is 0, what we can say? The rod is said to be in rotational equilibrium. Whenever a body is not in translatory equilibrium but in rotational equilibrium, any one, then the body is said to be in partial mechanical equilibrium. In this case, this thin rod is in rotational equilibrium but not in translatory equilibrium. So, it is not in mechanical equilibrium, but what we can say that if it obeys at least one equilibrium conditions, then it is said to be in partial mechanical equilibrium. In the same case, suppose if rod is kept here and if one of the force is reversed here, let us say this force F is reversed here. So, let me take this force as this force is acting upwards here, whose magnitude is F only and acting at this point. Now, the two thin rod, the mass is once again negligible, weight is 0, taking moments about C. If one of the force is reversed, let us say at B. Now, first of all, let me take the total force acting on this rod. Here, one force is acting downwards, the other force is acting upwards, and the weight of this rod is 0. So, what I am going to write? The downward force you take it as positive, the upward force you take it as negative, and let me take this as minus F here. So, what is the net force here? The net force will become 0. The total force experienced by this rod in this case will become 0. So, sigma F will become now 0, this will be 0. As net force is equal to 0, then rod is said to be in translatory equilibrium. Similarly, if you take the moments of forces about point C, here this force will try to rotate this rod in anti-clockwise direction. Even this force will try to rotate this rod in anti-clockwise direction. So, both forces will rotate the rod in the same direction. So, this is anti-clockwise, this is also anti-clockwise rotation. So, now if you consider this one, let me take this force, this distance is R, force down, torque is outwards, outward torque is positive. So, this is positive. What about the movement of that force at B about this point? So, this distance like this, force upwards, torque is outwards. So, for this force, torque is outwards, for this force also, torque is outwards. So, both torques are similar here. So, now what is the net torque experienced by this rod about that point C? Here L by 2F plus L by 2F, and this will become F into L by 2 plus L by 2, which is equal to F into L. That is one of the force and the distance between the two forces. That is nothing but the torque definition. So, here torque is not equal to 0. When sigma t is not equal to 0, then the rod is said to be not in rotational equilibrium. This rod is not in rotational equilibrium. So now, in this case, this thin rod is not in rotational equilibrium, but it is in translator equilibrium. Then also this rod is said to be in partial mechanical equilibrium. Here, when I am applying two forces here, see my thumb is applying force on this marker downwards, while the index finger is applying force in the upward direction here. So when I am rotating this one like this, here this rod is not fixed anywhere. It is not fixed to this one. Because of the friction between this pad and this one, it is in equilibrium. But when I am applying this force, these are the two equal, opposite, parallel, non-collinear forces. So I am applying two forces which are equal in magnitude, but acting in opposite direction, parallel to each other and not acting along the same line. So this is a couple. So here also, in this example, you can see two equal, opposite, parallel, non-collinear forces constitute a couple. So this is how we can use the concept of couple to rotate a body. If you take the magnetic compass needle, so the magnetic compass needle consists of one small magnet in this form, which is pivoted at the center here. This is a pivoted point. The total weight of this compass needle, that is a magnetic piece, the total weight of this one will act vertically downwards, and this pivot or the support will give an equal and opposite force on this one. So what are the forces here? The weight of this one, generally the compass needle one side it will be shown in red color. So we call it as north pole, and the other one it will be shown in black color. This is south pole. Now it is kept on a pivot, that is support here. Like this. So what are the forces acting on this one? The weight of this one is acting downwards, and this support will give an equal and opposite force on this one R. So what we can say, the weight is acting downwards and upward force or normal reaction or reaction given by support on this one is equal and opposite to this weight. We can say R minus mg. You take any one force positive, other force automatically will become negative. This is equal to 0. So as it is not moving upwards or downwards. If there is a motion for this compass needle either in upward action or downward action, let us say this compass needle is going up, then R minus mg is equal to mass of this needle to acceleration, that we studied in apparent weight of a lift. Here, as there is no motion of this needle along vertical direction, the net force must be 0. So that's why R is equal to mg. So as it is the total sum of or vector sum of the forces acting in this one along y-axis. So we can say as there are no forces in horizontal direction, so the total net force on this system is 0. We can say that the compass needle is in translatory equilibrium. So this is the condition for translational equilibrium. If this needle is kept like this, so this is our earth, this is north pole and south pole. Our earth behaves as a big or giant magnet. So it is found that this magnet has a north pole towards the south pole of earth and the south pole towards the north pole of earth. Now if you suspend this magnetic needle anywhere, if you keep it in a box, so this magnetic needle will experience two forces because of this pulling and pushing between these magnet and the earth's magnet. Let us say this is the north pole here and this is the south pole here. So this is the south pole and this is the north pole. We know that north repels with each other. So these two repels with each other. So the repulsive force will act in this direction. This is the repulsive force between north pole of the earth magnet and north pole of the compass needle. At the same time, south poles repulse with each other. This is the repulsive force between south pole of the compass needle and the south pole of the earth magnetic field. You forget about the geometric north pole and south pole here, because those poles will not exert any force on the needle. Similarly, when north repels, we know that north-south attracts, so this attractive force also will act in this direction. And these two, south and north, attracts in this direction. Here, the same needle will be experiencing two forces. That means north pole will experiencing force in this direction. This is the force exerted by north pole, and this is the force exerted by south pole. Here you can see these two forces are equal in magnitude, because strength of the north pole is equal to the strength of the south pole. As these two poles are stronger here, having equal strength, these forces will be same. So as a result, what happens here? This will experience a force in this direction, this will experience a force in this direction. Now taking moments about the center of, here instead of moment of forces, I am using that word moment only. So if it is not mentioned, always you consider force into distance only, that moment of force only. So taking moments about the center of compass needle, that is about O, this point. Now what is the torque, moment of force of this force about this point? So this is once again right hand palm rule. L, force is upwards, torque is outwards. So tau on the north pole, about center O, that is center O here, about O. So this will be L into F. But what is this direction? This is the direction of this distance. This is force, this is outwards. So this will be outwards. Outward torque. Similarly, what is the torque on the south pole here? Torque on the south pole is once again, this length is L, force is downwards, this is also outwards, L into F. So this will also outwards. So as the both torques are acting in the same direction, the sum of these two torques will not become 0. Why? Because this is anti-clockwise torque, this is also anti-clockwise torque. So both torques are positive. So this will be LF plus LF, 2LF. So this is the net torque. See students, this sigma tau is not equal to 0. That means this compass needle is in translatory equilibrium. It was in translatory equilibrium, but not in rotational equilibrium. Translatory equilibrium means the body will not move from one point to another point. The needle will not move. It will be at rest only, but it will rotate about the point. Why this needle is rotating? Because of the net torque acting on this one. If the net torque is 0, then no body will rotate about its own axis. Here, as the rotational equilibrium, the condition for rotational equilibrium is sigma tau must be 0, but sigma tau is not equal to 0, so not in rotational equilibrium. Whenever the body is not in rotational equilibrium, it will rotate. Whenever a body is not in translatory equilibrium, it will travel along a straight line. Here, this is how a compass needle cannot move within the compass needle box, but how it can rotate? Because of the net torque acting on this system. In markets, vegetable vendors use common balance to measure the mass of these vegetables here. Now here I am going to use this diagram. This is a plate, first plate, and similarly this is a second plate here. So these vendors will hold this center of this one, and we can say this point as a fulcrum of this common balance. In this, while holding, let us say we kept 1 kg stone here. This is a 1 kg stone. Now I am going to keep some tomatoes here. If I keep one tomato, what happens? The mass of this one is less than 1 kg. So this weight is more, this weight is less. So it will not be in balance. So it will be imbalance. It will come down, it will go up. So I need to hold, see here, what are the total forces acting here? This 1 kg is acting downwards. So mg will be, here I am not considering the weight of these strings and the weight of these plates. Actually they are not weightless bodies, but when compared to 1 kg, these are very small. So the total weight hanging from this end is 1 kg only. So that mass is 1, g is equal to, let me take 10. So 10 Newton force is acting downwards. The force acting here is 10 Newtons. But if I keep a tomato here, let the mass of this one is, let me take this as capital M, because the weight is more, mass is more. Now this is a weight of this one which is acting here is mg. Let us say this is 100 grams. So 100 into 10 power minus 3 into 10. So this is a 1000 into 1000. This is 1 Newton only. So what is the total force acting downwards? The total force acting downwards is total force acting downwards is, one is weight of this stone, that is 10 Newtons, weight of this single tomato 1 Newton. So total 10 plus 1, which is equal to 11 Newtons force is acting downwards. So how much force has to be applied by the vegetable vendor to keep it in balance? So he has to hold it like this. He is applying force in the upward direction. That must be equal to 11 Newtons to keep it in equilibrium. If the applied force upwards is exactly equal to the weight downwards, then this is said to be in translatory equilibrium. Let us say, if the applied force is only 8 Newtons, as the downward force is more, then the balance will move downwards. The entire system will move downwards here. If applied force is exactly equal to 11 Newtons, then the net force acting on the system, that is sum of the upward forces is equal to sum of the downward forces. Upward force 11, sum of the downward force is also 11, then the net force on the common balance will be 0. Then it is said to be in translatory equilibrium or translational equilibrium. Now, by adding these tomatoes here one by one, so I am adding these tomatoes 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Let us say all tomatoes have equal masses. What is the mass of these 10 tomatoes? Mass is will be 10 m and total weight will be this into 10, and this will become 10 Newtons. Now, what is the force, total force acting downwards in this case? Now, here we can say this is 10 Newtons, this is 10 Newtons. So, this will be 10 plus 10. The total force acting downwards will become 20 Newtons. So, how much force has to be applied by the vendor to keep it in a translatory equilibrium? He has to apply exactly 20 Newtons force. If this force is exactly 20, then this is said to be in translatory equilibrium. Now, if the mass in this one or weight in this pan is slightly less than in this pan, let us say this is 1 kg, let us say in this is only 9 tomatoes. Let me erase one tomato here. Let us say this is only 9 tomatoes. So this will become 9 mg, which is equal to into 9. So this will become 9 Newtons. We can keep this in translatory equilibrium by applying only 19 Newtons force here. But this is not in complete mechanical equilibrium. Why? Because we will see, if you take this point as O, this distance is let us say 1 meter and this distance also 1 meter. If you take movements about O, taking movements about O, now what is this force here? This is a 10 Newtons. So now I am taking about this point here, this one length is 1 meter. So 1 into the force acting is 10. So as it is in this direction, This is the distance, this is the force, torque is into. So this is a clockwise movement, this is a negative plus. What about this one? This distance is like this, force is acting downwards and torque is outwards, or anti-clockwise rotation. This will be anti-clockwise positive, but the total force is 9 only. So this will be 1 into 9. So what is the net force here? Minus 10 plus 9, which is equal to minus 1 Newton meter. Here you can see this is the total net torque acting on the system. When the total net torque acting on the system is not equal to 0, sigma tau is not equal to 0. If sigma tau equal to 0, then it is called rotational equilibrium. That means system will not rotate. But here the net torque is not equal to 0, so system is not in translatory equilibrium. Not in rotational equilibrium. When it is not in rotational equilibrium, the system will rotate. How this will rotate? As this weight is more, this torque will dominate. Why? Because there you can see this this torque is maximum. Minus indicates that the torque is in a different direction, but 10 is greater than 9 magnitude wise. So it will come down, this will go up. So as these fans are moving in this direction, that means this total entire system is rotating about this point. So to keep this one, to keep this in rotational equilibrium, I need to add one more tomato so that it will not rotate and the fulcrum will give the exact reading here. Then, so we can say that this is exactly equal to the weight placed in this case.